on, that would be very helpful as we have a lot of people in the Zoom hearing today. All right, let me call on, give me 1 second here. Madam Clerk, do I have you in the courtroom?
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, very good, thank you. All right, let me call on, I saw attorney Mr. Gorman.
Morning, or good afternoon, Your Honor. Thomas Gorman from Law Office Donald Day.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gorman.
We're here on behalf of Talbot Fuller. I do not know if the officer is present or not.
All right. Do I have Officer Piccoli here? If I'm pronouncing that correctly, P-I-C-C-O-L-I.
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, very good. All right, Mr. Gorman, how would you like to proceed?
Judge, we'd like to, this will be a very short trial. If Mr. Piccoli could just proceed forward, we don't have any witnesses that we're going to be calling.
Okay. All right. Officer, if I could have you raise your right hand to be sworn. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. And it looks like we're here on 4 citations. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Gorman, we're having a hearing on all 4?
Yeah, Judge, I don't think we need to do the registration, but other than that, the other 3, yes.
All right. And so, Madam Clerk, this is for 21 TR 573, 574, 575, and 576. And Officer, if you'd like to proceed with your testimony, you may go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, so on January 7th, 2021, I was on routine patrol with a member of the said ACE team at Immokalee. At approximately 17:55 hours, I observed Mr. Talbot driving eastbound on West Delaware Ave towards South First. As he was coming up to the stop sign, he proceeded to cut through the parking lot at 120 West Delaware. As he drove past me with his window down, I noticed that his seatbelt wasn't on. He was the sole occupant of the vehicle. As he approached the stop sign at 120 West Delaware, he didn't come to complete stop. His front 2 tires were over the white designated stop bar. A traffic stop was attempted by pointing our flashlights, saying stop, Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office. Mr. Fuller proceeded to pull inside the gas pump where we made contact with him. Mr. Fuller was very nervous. He had marijuana shake all over his shirt. It eventually led to an arrest, resisting charge. He tried escaping outside the vehicle. When I made contact with Mr. Fuller, requested his driver's license, registration, insurance, and we didn't get a chance to even produce it because obviously they're resisting. He jumped out of the car. And we ended up arresting him for resisting.
All right. Mr. Gorman, any questions for the officer?
Yes, isn't it true, officer, that this struggle ensued into a struggle very quickly from the moment of the stop?
Yes, correct.
All right, and isn't it also true that Mr. Fuller had his driver's license on him and it was placed into property and evidence when he was booked in?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so when you say that you asked him for his ID, it's not like you're sitting there having a conversation with him, you ask him for his ID and he just refuses to give it to you. You pull him over and a struggle ensues almost immediately.
Well, an attempt was made to request it, but obviously the marijuana shake was all over him and he failed to produce it, and then that's what led to the struggle. And also, when he jumped out of the car.
Yeah, but my point is, this is not like you're sitting there having a conversation with him and he just refuses to give it to you. He's pulled over, you make contact with him, and then it turns into a struggle almost immediately.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Judge, that's all the argument I have.
Okay. Anything further, officer?
Just one thing. I noticed Mr. Fuller had a citation for his seatbelt back in November, and he's received previous stop sign warnings as of like a few years ago as well. So that's why I issued this citation.
All right. Anything else from you, Mr. Gorman?
Just that he had a felony, Judge. We were unable to consolidate these. He's resolved it. And I do not believe that it sufficiently has been shown that he did not exhibit or provide his driver's license on command. Officer's testimony is that a struggle ensued almost instantly, and that he did in fact have his driver's license on him, on his person. It just, he was under arrest at that point. So we'd ask that you find that the state has not met their burden on not carrying or exhibiting a driver's license, but we don't have any argument on the other citations, Judge.
All right, as it relates to the charge of driver's license not carried or exhibited on demand in case number 21 TR 576, I'm going to dismiss that citation. As it relates to the driver not having a seatbelt in case number 21 TR 574, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a $25 fine plus court costs, give him 90 days to pay. In case number 21 TR 573, which is the charge of failing to stop at the stop sign, I'm going to find the defendant guilty. I'm going to withhold adjudication, impose a $75 fine plus court costs, give them 90 days to pay. And in case number 21 TR 575, that's the failing to register or failing to display registration. I didn't hear any testimony on that.
Yeah, Judge, we're not disputing that. I think I mentioned that we weren't disputing that going in the start of it. So just no contest to that charge.
All right, I'll withhold adjudication in that case, impose a $10 fine plus court costs, give them 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Chairman. Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any questions on that, Amanda?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, let me go to attorney, Mr. Carney.
Good afternoon, sir. Lee Carney here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carney. I think you've got one case on the docket.
Yes, sir. That is Matthew Schmer.
Is that with an S?
SCHMER. I give you the case number if you desire. Need that, sir.
That's okay. I've got it here. 20 TR 23652. Do I have Trooper Ellis Saint present?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, Judge, we're here on mandatory speed violation. I had asked previously at the prior pretrial as to whether or not the court would consider a withhold of adjudication. I'm not sure if the judge wanted to hear from the trooper, the law enforcement officer regarding that request.
All right. All right, Trooper, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. You may proceed.
Yes, this occurred in October 4th, 2020. And it was approximately 8:58 p.m. I was stationary on the median near mile marker 96. I was facing westbound traffic. I was running stationary radar. That's when I observed the vehicle that I was traveling west at a high rate of speed. It was on the inside lane. There were no vehicles present at the time. I visually estimated that vehicle to be traveling at 100 miles an hour. I activated my radar speed measuring device and received a display reading of 104 with a clear, steady audio Doppler tone that was consistent with the high rate with the vehicle speed. The speed limit on this road is 70 miles an hour. I then initiated a lawful traffic stop. I made a driver's side approach. I introduced myself and stated the reason for the stop. I asked him if there was a legal reason for that. He said no. He just had a test tomorrow, and he was kind of tired, and he was trying to get home. I requested the driver's license, registration, and insurance. I asked if the address on his driver's license was correct. He said yes. I then identified him by the picture on his Florida driver's license. He had one passenger in the vehicle. The driver was cited for speed, and the traffic stop was concluded. This all occurred in Collier County.
All right, Mr. Carney, any questions for the trooper?
So there was no other traffic in the area at the time of the stop?
That is correct. At the time of the clocking of the vehicle, there were no other vehicles present.
All right, so there weren't any other, you didn't create any other type of traffic hazard other than what you stopped him for?
That is correct.
All right, fine. Judge, I have noted that the documentation, calibration information regarding the speed measuring device, the calibration of the log and certification are on record. I have no objection to them, so.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else from you, trooper, then?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Having heard the testimony from the officer, I find the defendant guilty. Anything as to sentencing?
I'm just asking if the court would consider a withhold of adjudication of guilt, sir. I mean, he was cooperative. There were no other, incidents or problems involved regarding this. His record is such that that's something about 3 years ago. Here we go.
I think it was 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago, yes. The court would consider a withhold of adjudication.
All right. Any objection to a withhold, trooper?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll order a withhold of adjudication, a $250 fine plus costs, and require a 4-hour driver improvement school. Give them 90 days to pay.
All right, that's fine. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Judge, that's what I have this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carney. Thank you, trooper. All right. All right, I believe I had, did I see Mr. Burton in the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You have a case on today's docket?
Yes, Judge. I have 4. I'm covering for Attorney Simon Morales.
All right.
First one is with Trooper Hernandez, Victor Hugo Cantero.
I'm here.
All right. And what was the name on that case again? I'm sorry, it was Clavera?
Victor Hugo Cantero.
Cantero, thank you. 21 TR 604. All right. And are we proceeding with the hearing?
I'd like to see if we could just change plea. Trooper Hernandez, I'm assuming you have your documents for your stalker duel. Is that correct?
That's correct. I should have them on the docket.
Would you be amenable to a over 29 and a withhold? There are no priors in this case, and I understand that the speed was a lot, but there are no priors, no other aggravating circumstances.
I'm okay with the withhold. I won't amend the speed though, but I'm fine with the withhold.
Judge, if you'd accept the plea no contest, that we'd answer that at this time.
All right, I'll accept the plea of no contest, order a withhold of adjudication, impose a fine of $250 plus court costs, and require a 4-hour driver improvement school, give them 90 days to pay.
Okay. And
This is my only case, Judge. May I be dismissed?
Yes, thank you, Trooper Hernandez.
Thank you.
Judge, the next one I have is with Officer Plusa. And the name is Giovanni Chinea Torres.
Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
And this was a 72 and a 45. No priors on the driving record that was filed with the court, and I didn't see any other aggravators. Like, see if we can resolve with a withhold.
Officer?
Your Honor, yeah, the only thing, it was a nighttime speed enforcement zone for the panther, endangered species. He was very receptive to my explanation during the stop, so I'm fine with the withhold. Just fine at the 72 and a 45, Your Honor.
Sure,
No objection to the withhold.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Burton.
No, I just indicated we would enter a plea of no contest at this time.
All right. All right, I'll accept a plea of no contest, order a withhold of adjudication, a $175 fine plus court costs. I'm going to require a 4-hour driver improvement school. Give them 90 days to pay. All right. Thank you, officer.
Thank you. May I be dismissed, sir?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the final two that I have, it's the same driver, Deputy Rodriguez Petra, and the driver's name is Lisandra Claveria Fernandez. She has two cases.
All right, 21 TR 437 and 21 TR 440.
That's correct.
Let me pull those up. All right, one's for failing to change address and the other one is for an unlawful speed. Let me ask you, Mr. Burton, did your client get their driver's license address changed?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, are we proceeding with a hearing?
If we can resolve it, this one was exactly 75 and 45, and I did review the speeding documents, or the calibration records that were provided by the officer. See if the deputy be okay with the withhold on this. There was one, in reading the driving record, there's one prior, but it also looks like there were suspensions on the driving record related to some court costs in a separate traffic case.
All right, Deputy, what do you have to say?
That is correct. She was still suspended by the time I conducted a traffic stop on her. I did give her a warning for the suspension though. And she was the only vehicle on the roadway at the time when I visually estimated and my radar confirmed the speed.
Okay. What do you have to say about a withhold of adjudication?
Well, due to her prior, she does have the prior for the suspended license, which was earlier, the end of last year prior to my traffic stop, and it was also for speed. So
is that an objection?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Burton.
Judge, I think we could just proceed and resolve this.
All right, are you entering a plea of no contest?
Yes, Your Honor, we are playing no contest at this time.
All right, in case number 21 TR 437, I'll accept the plea of no contest. Adjudicate the defendant guilty, impose a fine of $250 plus court costs, require a 4-hour driver improvement school, give them 90 days to pay. In case number 21 TR 440, and that's the driver's license issue, I'll adjudicate the defendant guilty, impose a fine of $10 plus court costs, give them 90 days to pay. All right, thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burton. Anything else for you?
No, sir, that's all I have. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. I believe I saw Mr. Raheb.
Afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Nice to see you again, sir. We got two this
Nice to
morning.
see you.
Excuse me, this afternoon. I apologize.
Okay,
Which one would you like to start with first, sir?
you choose.
Okay. How about we go with Lionel Metulus, 20 TR 31243. And that is officer, he was served. Apologize. Alusma, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name.
All right, very good.
I'm sorry, Judge. This mask thing, my ears getting worse. Did he say here?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Officer Alusma, I just want to ask you, given that it's a single car, I guess, traffic infraction, are you able to move forward with this case without any witnesses as to what happened? It's alleged, I guess, there's some sort of single car incident.
Yeah, I'm actually willing to dismiss it because I have no recollection.
Thank you for your honesty and your candor, sir. Your Honor, at this time, I would ask to dismiss this violation.
All right, I'll grant the motion to dismiss and dismiss the citation in case number 20 TR 31243. Thank you, officer.
Thank you, officer.
No problem.
Your Honor, the next one I'm here is, well, I'm really doing the linguist here. Gilberto Esquivel, 20 TR 30347. And that would be Mr.
Sir.
Hey, Officer Borchers. Good afternoon.
Your Honor, I need to make an amendment to the citation if I could before we start.
Okay, give me one moment to pull that up. Okay, go ahead.
The fine should be $1,000 for this, sir. It didn't auto-populate into the ticket.
Okay, and that's because of being over 50 miles per hour.
Yes, sir.
Any objection to that amendment?
He's got a right to amend it. I was just going to ask him if he would be amenable to resolving this with 49 over. Would you, Officer Borchers? I think it's just a smidgen over 50. Would you be amenable to that?
Not because of the reason of the traffic that he drove past at that speed.
Okay. I just asked. No, I totally understand. Would you be opposed then, sir, to a withhold? He did do a 12-hour class, which I filed.
I'll leave that up to the judge, sir.
Your Honor, if you'd be amenable to resolving it with a withhold adjudication, we can forego the hearing. I did file this 12-hour class.
I do see the certificate of course completion in the file. Give me a moment to review his driving record.
Yeah, I saw one prior, Judge. Take your time, Your Honor.
Valid license.
All right, I don't see any speeding citations on his record. I do see some other things that cause me to have concern. So I would not be willing to do a withhold of adjudication in this case.
I understand, Judge, and I guess obviously we'll proceed with the hearing.
Okay. All right, Corporal, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, sir.
All right, go ahead with your testimony.
Sir, on December 9th, 2020, approximately 7:34 in the morning, I was doing traffic enforcement on Oil Well Road out near the Arthrex Corporation. I was traveling eastbound on Oil Well Road. I observed a bright yellow car traveling westbound at an extreme high rate of speed. Visually estimated that the vehicle was traveling at 100 miles an hour. Activated my dual stalker radar, which gave me a very strong, steady tone, indicating that the vehicle was traveling at 102 miles an hour. That was right in the area of Arthrex Commerce Drive. I had to make a U-turn and begin chasing the vehicle down. Due to his speed, I didn't catch him until I caught all the way to Oil Well Grade Road, passing numerous commuters that were going to and from work down Oil Well Road there. Eventually caught up to the vehicle, conducted a traffic stop, identified the driver by his Florida driver's license, issued a citation. This did occur in Collier County, Your Honor, and you should have all my paperwork as evidence for radar logs and certifications.
All right, did you see those on file? Mr. Rehab, any questions for Corporal?
Yes, please. Thank you, Judge. Corporal, when you were driving, was that road that the thoroughfare you drive, is it 2 lanes eastbound, sir, and 2 lanes westbound?
Yes, a total of 4 lanes.
Is there any dividers, sir, between the 2 lanes, or is it just a line, or is there some kind of grassy road?
No, there's a grassy curb median, and as you get further along, there's Jersey barriers.
And were you in what we would call the passing lane or the right-hand lane, sir, when you first detected the vehicle traveling in the opposite direction?
I was in the passing lane, monitoring the flow of traffic that was coming towards me.
Were there any other cars in front of my client's vehicle or to the side of my client's vehicle when you made these observations?
No, sir.
So it's your testimony he was the only vehicle in the roadway, sir?
He was the only vehicle on my side of view. He wasn't the only vehicle on the roadway. There were other vehicles ahead of him.
Was there not a blue car within 20 yards of where he was traveling?
No, sir.
Okay. So you're saying from where you were and you activated your device, which I've seen the logs, it has the capabilities of detecting speed opposite direction while you're moving. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And it's your testimony that it was 102.
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions, Judge.
All right. Anything else, Corporal Borchers?
Only the reason that he gave me for driving that fast was he stated his engine was misfiring and he was testing it.
Okay. All right. Anything else from you, Mr. Rehab?
No, Judge, I would just bring it to the court's attention that I understand that the speed apparently was obviously only a 50-mile-per-hour speed there, which would put him above the 50 threshold. The time of day and the fact that he's a 12-hour class, if the court would consider perhaps some community service hours in lieu of the points, given that he did a 12-hour class.
Right. All right. Having heard the testimony here today, I find the defendant guilty. I am going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $1,000 plus court costs. I'll give him 90 days to pay. If he needs more time than that, he'll have to work out a payment arrangement with the clerk prior to the end of 90 days. I would have imposed a 12-hour driver improvement school had he not already completed one, so I'm not going to impose that in the judgment and sentence.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Corporal.
Thank you. I'll be excused.
Yes, you may. Thank you. Have a good day. Anything else, Mr. Rehab?
I think that's it, Judge. That was the 2. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well, sir.
Thank you. All right. Let me go to Mr. Gordon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good. I'm trying to find you. Okay, there you are.
That's okay. I have 2 cases. The first one is Aguilar. Herbin Neri Aguilar.
All right, case number 20 TR 26442.
That's correct. It's with Sergeant Garcia.
All right, I think I see Sergeant Garcia. Can you hear us, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, Mr. Gordon, how would you like to proceed?
Judge, this will be a resolution. I know Mr. Aguilar has a number of violations. They're primarily 5 years ago and back. So I would ask, in consideration of the fact that he was convicted of the last couple, if Your Honor, and if Sergeant wouldn't object to school for a withhold.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. This is on Aguilar, correct?
That's correct. Herbin Aguilar, 20 TR 26442.
All right, I'll order a withhold of adjudication, a $175 fine plus court costs, give them 90 days to pay. I'm going to order an 8-hour driver improvement school.
Okay, that's accepted, Judge.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you, Sergeant. And then I do have one other judge. The last name is Kanapesky, Jamie Kanapesky, 20 TR 24278. She should also be online here for Zoom. This was going to be a hearing.
Okay, I see your client there. And then
I believe it's Officer Phillips, I believe.
Yes, do I have Officer Phillips? Yep, there we are. All right. Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon.
All right, Mr. Gordon, you said we're gonna have a hearing on this one?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, officer, if I could have you raise your right hand. Will you be taking testimony from Ms. Kanapesky also?
Yes, Judge.
All right, ma'am, if you'll raise your right hand also. And do you both swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. And,
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, officer, you may proceed.
Okay, I'm Master Officer Sean Phillips, the City Naples Police Department, identification number 263. On Friday, October 16th, year 2020, at approximately 11:04 a.m., I was positioned on 3rd Avenue North, just east of the intersection of US 41. At that time, I was observing traffic. At that intersection, there is a clearly marked stop sign that is facing eastbound on 3rd Avenue North. So westbound traffic does observe it. It's on the northbound side of the roadway. As you approach US 41, it is clear and unobstructed. Foliage is graffiti free. It's a red sign with a white outline with the word stop, S-T-O-P, in white lettering. There is also a stop bar on the line at that intersection advising the motorists where they need to stop. I had a clear and unobstructed view of that intersection as the motorist approached. At approximately 11:04 a.m., the motorist came westbound on 3rd Avenue North, approached the intersection of US 41, passing the clearly marked stop sign on 3rd Avenue North and the clearly marked stop bar, making a right-hand turn without coming to a full and complete stop, and began to head northbound on US 41. At that point, I activated my emergency lights, pulled the motorist to the side of the roadway. The vehicle in question is a 2018 Mazda, silver in color. It bears Florida tag number DVJ-K67. That's Delta Victor Juliet Kilo 67. I was given a Florida driver's license by a Miss Jamie Lynn Kapinaski. At that time, I was also issued a citation for failure to stop at the stop sign located at 3rd Avenue North and US 41.
Right. Mr. Gordon, any questions?
Well, Judge, first I'm gonna, based upon the officer's testimony at this point, I'm gonna ask that the ticket be dismissed. He did not advise that this occurred in Collier County.
I never advised that I was done with my testimony, sir.
Well, the court can take judicial notice of geographical information. I know that 3rd and 41 is in Collier County. I'm sorry, officer, were you not done with your testimony?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, you may continue.
Okay. I'd like to add that I was in vehicle 6765, which is a slick top vehicle for the City of Naples Police Department. That being said, it does have clearly marked writing on the side that says it is a police vehicle, but it does not have any lights on top. And also be advised, this did occur in the County of Collier, as the council stated.
All right, any other testimony?
Not at this time.
Mr. Gordon, any questions for the officer?
Yes, Judge. Judge, before I begin the questions, I did attach as exhibits at the end of February some photographs that just would help with geography and location if you're not familiar with this intersection.
I do see them.
Okay. And then I can go ahead and I can ask the officer some questions so he can clarify that I'm referring to the correct intersection.
Okay. Do you need to share the photographs?
I think I can probably get enough information that we can just clarify without the sharing.
Okay.
Sir, if he's going to include photos, I'd like to see him so that we can definitely conclude that we're talking about the same intersection.
All right, I'll go ahead and share those. Can you see that? All right.
Yeah, there are 4 of them. I'm sorry that they're a little dark, but.
All right.
Sorry, I have to call you back. I'm on Zoom. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Gordon.
Okay. All right, so officer, so you said this occurred at 3rd Avenue North and US 41, correct?
Correct.
All right, and 3rd Avenue North runs east and west.
Correct.
So therefore it's perpendicular to US 41.
Correct.
Okay. So if you are driving west on 3rd Avenue North and now approaching US 41, then what would be in front of you on the opposite side of the road is that the hospital parking garage?
It is correct.
Okay. So then in you looking at these photographs, do we have the correct intersection?
I believe so, yes, it looked correct.
Okay. And then also on this particular road, there are parking spaces on both sides of 3rd Avenue North, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you advise us what the traffic was like, or were there any cars parked in these parking spaces?
I don't have a recollection as to my notes.
Okay. So where were you exactly sitting, observing traffic, just to help us?
I don't exactly recall where I was sitting, but primarily I sit on the south side of the roadway in the parking spots located. So as I look to my left, I'm looking at Naples Community Hospital.
Okay. Okay. Now also, if you're driving west on 3rd Avenue North, there is another road that you can make a right turn to go to some other restaurants and shops before you exit onto 41. Is that correct?
Correct, it's a parking lot.
Okay, all right. And again, some of the pictures that I included, some of the restaurants are Grouper and Chips, Caribbean Island, Opa Greek. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. Now, if you go ahead and you turn down that particular driveway, there is another driveway to exit onto US 41. Is that correct?
At the end of that driveway, yes, you can make a left.
Okay. A left or
And
a right?
northbound on US 41, correct.
Right, but you make a right turn onto 41.
Correct,
Okay.
head northbound.
Okay. All right. So were there any, so you don't recall any other cars in the area? You don't remember what the traffic was like around that time of day?
I don't have a recollection of the other vehicles, no.
Okay. All right. And so when did you first see Ms. Kanapesky's vehicle?
I was observing traffic at that location. That's a common spot where I do conduct traffic enforcement. I don't know where my first observation of Ms. Kanapesky is, but I did observe her clearly go through the stop sign and the stop bar without coming to a full and complete stop, making that right, heading northbound on 41.
Okay. And then, so your testimony is that once she went through that stop sign, did you then pursue her onto US 41?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you first pull her over?
I don't have the location of the stop in my notes.
Okay. Did you have any conversations with Ms. Kanapesky?
I don't have any conversation in my notes.
Okay. So you don't recall her telling you that she in fact turned down the driveway before the stop sign to check out the restaurants and then exiting in the other driveway? You don't recall that conversation?
No, I don't have any independent recollection of that conversation, no.
Okay. And also, I did notice that the citation marks off that there was a crash. I'm assuming that that's incorrect.
I did not note that there was a crash. I don't know if that's an imperfection in the system, but absolutely not. There was not a crash.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that Judge knew that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I have nothing further.
All right. Officer, any additional testimony in light of the questions that were asked?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Gordon, you may proceed.
I'd like to call Ms. Kanapesky, please.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Kanapesky, I know you've been sworn in, but just please state your name for the record.
My name is Jamie Kanapesky.
And Ms. Kanapesky, where do you work?
I have two jobs, but one I've worked on Fifth Avenue at Silver Eagle Gallery for about 6 years now.
Were you working there on October 16th, 2020?
I was headed into work, yes.
Headed into work, okay. So how did you end up on 3rd Avenue North?
There is a bagel store I like to go to on 3rd Avenue North. So I was going to stop there and get some breakfast, but it was closed.
Okay, and that is one of the restaurants that is in fact in that separate alley that you can turn into before turning onto US 41, right?
No, that is on 3rd Avenue North.
Oh, that's actually on 3rd Avenue North.
Yeah, so as I drove by, I saw that it was closed, but I was still hungry.
Okay, so after you saw that it was closed, what did you then do?
I pulled up, and as I was coming up to the stop sign, there was a metallic car in front of me, and I looked over and saw the strip mall area with all the restaurants, and I decided to see if any of them had quick grab and go, any of them were open for like a grab and go, since I had to be at work.
And again, and this was at 11 o'clock in the morning, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what time do you usually go to work?
I'm supposed to be there at 11.
So you're running late.
That's why I wanted the grab and go.
Okay.
But all of them seem to be sit down.
Okay, so right, so after you turned onto that separate roadway, you discovered you couldn't grab and go. Then what did you do after that?
I exited onto 41 and got in the far left lane and waited for the light to turn green so I could make a U-turn and head south on 41 so I could get to Fifth Avenue.
And at the time that you pulled into that turn lane, did you notice the officer behind you?
No, I didn't hear them either.
When did you first notice that an officer was coming after you?
I was pulled over after the stoplight turned green. I made the legal U-turn, and I was headed north for a little bit. And then the officer pulled me over a little bit ways down.
Did you have any conversations with the officer?
Yes.
Okay, what did you discuss with him about why you were pulled over?
He said that I blew a stop sign, and I said that I went through the parking lot to look for food.
Okay, is that the only conversation you had?
He asked me why I was in a hurry. I said I was on my way into work.
Okay. So other than the metallic car in front of you, before you turned off into the other part of the shopping center,
Yes.
Were there other cars in the area on 3rd Avenue North?
Yes, there was. There's usually always parked. There's a lot of other businesses there, so there are always parked cars there.
So when you turned onto the separate road, past the restaurants to exit onto 41, did you stop at that stop sign?
There wasn't a stop sign there.
Okay.
I thought maybe there was. But when I went back after work on my way home just to check it out, because I couldn't believe I would have blown by a stop sign and gotten pulled over, I saw that there was no stop sign exiting that. But I did stop and make sure no traffic was coming before I went into the left-hand lane.
Okay. And were there any markings on the roadway? If there's no stop sign, were there any like white stop bars on the roadway to tell you to stop?
I don't recall, but it's a parking lot, and I was making a right-hand turn onto a busy street, so I always stop.
I have nothing further, Judge.
Officer, do you have any questions for Ms. Kanapesky?
Rather than a question, I have a statement. Ms. Kanapesky's testimony does not reflect my notes at all.
Okay. Ms. Kanapesky, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What do you mean when you say there was a metallic car in front of you? What do you mean by metallic?
So I remember when I pulled up, so I have a silver car. There was like a gold car in front of me at the stop sign at the time when I turned in to the parking lot.
All right, so it was a golden color car. That's what
Yes.
you mean by metallic.
Yeah, like a golden metallic. It wasn't like a bright red. It was like a very similar color in the sunlight to a silver or gold. They kind of seem similar colors at times, but
Okay.
either way, it was metallic.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gordon, any questions in light of the court's question?
No, Judge.
Officer, any questions in light of the court's question?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Gordon?
No, Judge.
All right. Officer, any rebuttal testimony?
No, sir.
All right. Argument, Mr. Gordon?
Just let the testimony, Judge. That's fine.
All right. Any argument from you, officer?
No, sir.
All right. All right. Having heard the testimony from each side, the court finds that there is a conflict in the evidence, and based on that conflict, the state has not provided sufficient proof to prove that Ms. Kopinski violated the traffic citation. So at this time, I'm going to dismiss the citation and in case number 20 TR 24278. Thank you, officer.
Thank you, sir. Am I dismissed?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kanapesky.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Anything else from you?
I think I'm finished.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
You too. All right. Give me 1 second. All right, let me go to Mr. Thompson. I think you've got one case on the docket. Attorney Thompson, are you there? All right, we'll come back to him. All right, and I believe I had. All right, do I have any officers with just one case?
Yes, Your Honor. Corporal Kennedy.
All right, Corporal Kennedy, what case do you have?
I have a 2020 TR 007977 for a John Medeiros.
All right, do I have John Glenn Medeiros present? Don't appear to have them present. All right, Corporal, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Will you provide your testimony for this case, please?
Yes, Your Honor. On March 8th, 2020, around 12:50 a.m., I was working for the DOI Task Force of the Collier County Sheriff's Office, traveling north on US 41, approaching the Vanderbilt Beach Road intersection. I had a green light the entire time, traveling north at the intersection, and as I had the steady green light, approach the intersection, I saw a four-door Kia make a U-turn, going south on 41, make a U-turn to go north on 41 at Vanderbilt Beach Road. Seeing that my light was still green, I had the interpretation that his light was red and initiated a traffic stop for a red light violation. I issued Mr. Medeiros a citation for running a red light. I verified his information through a flow driver's license. This will all occur in Collier County.
All right, thank you. Last call for John Medeiros. John Medeiros.
Sorry, Judge. I saw you hit the unmute button on me, Attorney Laramie Thompson. I don't know if that was the one you were calling me on.
No, it's not. I'll recall your case after I'm done with this.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thanks. All right, having heard the testimony from the officer, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $158 plus court costs, give him 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Am I
All
dismissed?
right. Yes, thank you, Corporal.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let me go back to Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have Jordan Valdivia.
All right, and let's see. That's case number 21TR210. And this is with Trooper Rodriguez.
I didn't see him present in the group.
I have Trooper Rodriguez present.
I think he is present, Judge. I'd make a motion to dismiss for lack of prosecution.
Your Honor, Sergeant Cruz is out. Sergeant Ronald Rodriguez?
Yes.
Could you give me a minute? I'll give him a call. I think it's working a crash, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me recall this case.
Putting me on recall? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll look for the unmute button again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I also got one case if you want to
All
take
right.
it.
Go ahead. Which case?
I believe it's going to be with an attorney, Jose Gomez. That's the defendant's name.
All right, let me find that.
I think it's with Todd Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor, Attorney Jackson Todd would enter a change of plea in this case. I've examined the Master Sergeant's records, radar logs. They appear to be in order. My client has no prior movement violations.
All right. Trooper, any objection to a withhold in this case?
No, Your Honor. He had a good attitude. No problems.
Okay, good. All right, let me just take a look at his driving record really quickly. All All right, I'll go ahead and issue a withhold of adjudicate. I'll accept the plea of no contest, issue a withhold of adjudication, impose a fine of $175 plus court costs. Give him 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Master Sergeant. Stay safe.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Your Honor, I have one case.
All right, go ahead.
Jude Donovan.
All right, let me find that one. How do you spell the last name?
Donabil.
Okay, I've got it here. Do I have Jude Donovan present? All right, sir, if you'll raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I'm sorry, Your Honor. Joe Donovan doesn't speak English. You're gonna have to have somebody to translate for him or something.
Well, I can either continue it or he's got to have somebody because we don't provide court interpreters for traffic court.
Oh, okay. Okay, he's using Russian. Can I speak for him, translate for him?
If you can start your video, you've got to be able to have video here also.
Yes, I know. Hold on. Okay. Okay, he's coming. No! Come right. What the? Come here. Okay. He's coming. Jesus, I saw him to go. Can is that a way y'all can take somebody else and come back with it, please?
I'll give him two options. We'll go ahead and proceed or we'll continue it.
Okay, go ahead and proceed.
All right. Sergeant, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead with your testimony.
So on Thursday, December the 3rd at about 12:14 p.m. on US 41, west of Manatee Road, traveling in a western direction. I was stationary in my CCSO assigned vehicle when I noticed a blue Honda coming towards me at a high rate of speed in the left lane. I estimated the speed to be 80 miles an hour. Using my stationary Doppler radar, did confirm the speed to be 80 miles an hour with the digital tone and digital reading and a Doppler tone at the same time. I stopped the vehicle. At stop, I identified the driver with an out-of-state license. The face and the name on the license did match that of the driver. And I tried to explain to him what he was doing. He could not understand me. I gave him a phone number to call to explain the citation, and I issued the citation for going 80 and a 50.
Okay.
And how did you recognize the person?
The license he gave me matched his face.
Okay.
And it had the same name on it, and then he was able to provide me with his address.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Donovan, are you there?
Yes.
Could I see him?
Oh, Jesus. Kote Oye. Okay. Open the door.
All right, Mr. Donneville, are you there?
All right.
All right, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Et du comme ça, si tout ça pral di yo, si c'est tout c'est la vérité yo, ya bien.
Yes. Yes.
All right, you may proceed with your testimony.
Ok, comment ou met fini, ça ou gen pou di?
Yeah, ça me dit parce que ticket a me prend ba comment moi prend ticket. Parce que m'da courir de en bas, gon lumière rouge devant moi, moi policier a nan flèche qui pour virer. Pendant m'bral prend lumière rouge, m'a camper et puis monsieur on fait mon signe, il fait monter la flèche.
Okay, he said he gave him a ticket, but he don't know why he gave it to him. The light was red, and when the officer see him, and he told him to go that way, so
Et puis
he went.
Et puis route là son route 50 lié, monsieur met là ticket a li dit m'da fait 80 et m'bral prend
He
lumière rouge.
said that the speed road was 50, and the officer told him that he was doing 80, but he wasn't.
All right, any other testimony?
The testimony, he said, what other testimony?
Do you have anything else you want to say, Mr. Donneville?
Est-ce que gon l'autre bagay vous dit?
Non,
Et puis li tap di yon bagay ensemble avec bay. Li di kon sa ke figi a pat marché bay sa yo.
Figi pat marché?
Figi a pat marché.
Non, e figi m'niye, mais licence là. Ah, pat marché. E figi. It's mine.
Okay. I guess he don't have anything else to say.
Okay. All right, having heard the testimony from the parties, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate guilty, impose a fine of $250 plus court costs. I'm going to give you 90 days to pay.
Okay, it will be like 275. This
$250 plus court costs.
How much is it for the car?
The court costs are $103.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give you 90 days to pay. If you need more time than that, you'll need to work out a payment arrangement with the clerk prior to the end of 90 days.
Okay. Les dit ou gen 90 jours pour payer et $250 pour ticket là et puis 100 combien dollars pour cote là. So, like, yeah. 250.
All right, and Mr. Donneville, are you still living on Anhinga Circle in Immokalee?
He said no, he doesn't live there. His ex-wife did. So.
All right, we need an address to send you the information on for the judgment.
Et du comme ça, le besoin d'adresse pour envoyer information.
Thank you, Sergeant. You're free to go. All right, thank you.
Okay, he'll give you an address. It's an Immokalee.
All right, go ahead with the address.
It's 1984 Alexander Circle.
Okay. 34142?
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. That's where we'll send the judgment and it'll provide the information for the payments.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a case with Mr. Todd.
All right. Go ahead.
You do guilty.
Which case is it?
You do guilty.
It's for Metellus. Last name is Cleger. It's 2 speeding violations with Mr. Todd.
All right, I think I found him here. 21 TR 707 and 21 TR 708.
Your Honor, before we proceed, may I ask Sergeant, Your Honor, this case had attempted to resolve it pre-trial with another judge, and that judge wanted some clarification. If I could ask Sergeant, do these two speed allegations stem from the same pursuit?
Yes, they do.
Okay, had you just turned around on him, and then upon approaching him, he had traveled into another speed zone?
That's correct. Randall, and then he got held up by traffic, turned left onto 16th, and got back up to 60 miles in that speed zone. So there are two speeding infractions.
Sergeant, would you consider dismissing one citation? We're trying to avoid two violations. I know there's two different speed limits. We're trying to avoid two speeding violations for a single traffic stop.
Okay. I just felt that with the second violation, there was went from Randall and then into a residential area where he's going 60 miles an hour. So I wouldn't normally not write two violations like that, but with it moving from Randall and then onto a residential area where he sped up again to 30 over, that was, to 30 miles over the limit. That was my problem. So I would defer to the judge. I wouldn't be opposed to that if the judge is able to give him a good fine and maybe school for the first violation.
Your Honor, I wouldn't be opposed to, it sounds to me the sergeant is dismissing the first citation. That's case number 21 TR 707. And we would change a plea on the second citation, case number 21 TR 708. Request to withhold maybe with a driver improvement school. My client has no prior moving violations.
With the speed, Your Honor, and with the graciousness that's being shown to dismiss the one citation, I'd be opposed to a withhold.
Okay. Does that affect your plea, Mr. Todd?
It does not.
All right, I'll go ahead and dismiss the citation in 21 TR 707 and in 21 TR 708. I'll accept the plea. I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $325 plus court costs. I'm going to require a 12-hour driver improvement school. Give him 90 days to pay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you both.
That's all I have. I'll be dismissed.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, Sergeant Cruz, I made contact with Sergeant Ronald Rodriguez. He should be online if he hasn't yet.
Yes, I think I see Sergeant Rodriguez.
Yes, I am, Your Honor. I apologize.
That's okay.
Had to deal with a personnel matter.
I understand.
Lost track of time.
All right, and do I have Mr. Thompson present? Mr. Thompson, are you there? All right, he might be in another Zoom hearing. All right, we'll recall that. I'm sorry, Sergeant.
Not a problem, sir.
Do I have any other officers that have one case?
Yes, Your Honor. Sergeant, go ahead. Sergeant Cruz in Caratala, he has one case with me, aircraft case.
All right. Go ahead, Sergeant Cruz. Which case do you have?
This is going to be with Trooper Caratala, and it's going to be 015546. I'm not sure if we have an attorney for Jada Rini Hall.
We do not.
I'm not sure if she's present.
All right, do I have Jada Renee Hall present?
Sorry, Judge, I saw the unmute button again.
That's okay. We're on another case. All right.
All right. Oh, try my best.
All right, thanks. All right. Doesn't appear that Ms. Hall is present.
Judge.
Yes.
Is it I just want to know which
position I'm in because I've been here for like 2 hours.
Well, we've only been in court for an hour and 15 minutes. So I don't know, because I've got 43 cases on the docket. So I'm trying to get the officers out.
Okay, no problem
Okay,
then.
so just be patient.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right.
That was Jada Rainey Hall.
Right, Jada Rainey Hall, 20 TR 15546. All right, let me pull that up.
Yes, sir. And it will be amended to the time in reference to the system. I do have the accurate time.
All right, citation shows 9:03 a.m. You want to amend that?
8:59 a.m., Your Honor. What happens by the time you pull out the citation, it'll actually collect the actual time that the officer retracts the citation from the system. It does not populate.
Okay. Motion to amend is granted. The time will be amended to 8:59 a.m. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right. And who else did you said we needed for this case?
Caratala. It should be online. Trooper.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. There you go. Let me do that. All right. If you could both raise your right hands to be sworn.
I do, Your Honor.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right. I guess Trooper Cruz, if you want to go first.
Yes, Your Honor. I do have a comment. I do have a long version, which is it requires the predicate to show exactly what I do. If you're okay with the short version, I can tell you the specifics of the violation, and that would include me being the sole pilot of the aircraft and the lines on the ground as well, and how they were measured.
Go ahead with the short version today.
Yes, Your Honor. On this particular day was July 2nd, 2020 at approximately 8:59 a.m. As I'm monitoring vehicular traffic, I'm Sergeant Edgardo Cruz from Florida Highway Patrol. I'm the sole operator of the aircraft assigned to me, which is an Cessna 172 of high wing capabilities. And that means it allows me to have optimum view from air to ground, also retractable gear. This aircraft is assigned to me as the sole operator, and I'm certified on the aircraft to fly as such. On this aircraft, I typically monitor vehicular traffic in areas that are really hot areas for us, meaning high speeders, reckless, and a lot of careless drivers. On this particular area was in Collier County, approximately the area of mile marker 9293, which is also I-75 northbound or westbound, based on the way the roadway is shaped. On this area, I was flying over the area in Collier County, making a series of left turn, observing vehicular traffic. On this area, I do have a set of lines. There are 5 courses that I have. These lines are white in color. I can see them from the air to ground with no visibility issues. Typically, I fly at 1,500 feet or 1,500 feet to have a clear view of what the vehicle shape, color, model, etc. At this point, I'm observing westbound and northbound traffic on I-75. I observe what appears to be a dark tone vehicle approaching those lines that I have on the ground. These lines go from one end to the other side of the roadway, and they extend up at a minimum of 1,320 feet, which is a quarter mile required by the state statute. These lines are 1,323.5 feet, which should allow the violator an extra 3.5 feet to their advantage. As this vehicle continued to travel at a very high rate of speed, I advised the troopers that I had a triple digits, what I called over 100 miles an hour. I estimated the vehicle at 100 miles an hour. At this point, as the same vehicle approached the first center line, I began to stopwatch this vehicle utilizing one of the 3 stopwatches that I have assigned to my possession. These stopwatches had a unique serial number as 1FA, 2 Foxtrot, and 3 Foxtrot Charlie. I'm capable to clog multiple vehicles up to 4 at the same time and deliver them safely. At this point, I used the one stopwatch, and the violation was occurred in July 2nd, as I mentioned, 2020. The certification I can show, I believe my court liaison just submitted the paperwork. In case she didn't, I can actually show you the actual certification. You will see it circled for May 2020. which is good all the way until the end of the year.
All right.
Are you able to see that, Your Honor?
I am.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this point, I continue to monitor this vehicle. As this vehicle approached the first center line, I observed this vehicle in the inside lane, and I began to stop, watch him or clock him as it passed the front end of the line. As this vehicle continued to travel westbound or northbound at a very high rate of speed, I stopped the same stopwatch as the rear end of the vehicle passed the second center line. I could stop them in the front end, but I also allowed them the full length of the vehicle to their advantage, thus creating an average speed. At this point, I stopped the same stopwatch and received a reading of 105 miles an hour, and it took this vehicle 8.5 seconds to travel the same distance, which is a minimum of 1,320 feet. At this point, I continued to stopwatch this vehicle, and I got another reading of 105, then 103, and down to 99. At that point, the vehicle could not go any faster. It was blocked in by other vehicular traffic, made a lane change to the outside, back to the inside lane, got jammed up behind a tractor trailer. At that point, as I was approaching the location of the trooper, which was west of that location at approximately 1 mile, I advised Trooper Caratala that I had a vehicle at 105 miles an hour, that the time was 8:59, that the speed was 105, and it appears to be a dark tone, and its stopwatch was 1 FA. As Trooper Caratala was stationed further west of the actual hold, near the mile marker 91.5, I began to sequence the same vehicle, number 3, number 2, number 1, never losing sight of this vehicle from the air as I'm flying westbound, and I got him on my left side. At that point, once I advised Trooper Caratala that the vehicle was number 2, number 1, I placed the vehicle to his left side, and Trooper Caratala began to overtake this vehicle. Once Trooper Caratala was behind the correct vehicle, I advised him, you do have the correct one, please advise on the color. I can see a little bit blue on it based on the actual lights, the sunlights. And at that point, Trooper Caratala confirmed that it was a blue vehicle, dark blue. I advised him again, he was behind the correct one, correct vehicle. That the speed was 105, that the time was 8:59, and Trooper Caratala safely went to the median and pulled this vehicle over. At that point, I made a series of left turn until Trooper Caratala had the vehicle in control, and advised him that he was correct, the vehicle in the median. And at that point, for the first time, I took my eyes off that vehicle and began to fly eastbound to clock other vehicular traffic. All actions happen here in Collier County.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Cruz. All right, Trooper Caratala.
Sir, I made a passenger side approach on the vehicle that I had stopped, which is a 2020, a 4-door, a passenger car with a Florida tag of CTKW80. I ID'd the driver by her valid driver's license as Jada Renee Hall out of Florida. I issued her a citation for traveling 105 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone. And then all of these events happened in Collier County, Florida.
All right, thank you. Last call for Jada Renee Hall. Do I have Jada Renee Hall present? All right, having heard the testimony from the troopers, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate her guilty, impose a fine of $250 plus court costs, and require an 8-hour driver improvement school. I'll give her 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor. And
All right.
Trooper Benoit has one case as well.
All right, thank you.
I believe Trooper Benoit has one last case as well. I think the attorney is ready to go if you want to jump into.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, are you there?
I am here, Judge.
Okay. And then do I have, I believe it was Trooper Rodriguez?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Sergeant's present. Hello, Sergeant. You have a
Good, how are you, sir?
recollection of this stop?
Yes, sir.
All right. What about Sergeant Cruz? Do we have Sergeant Cruz?
I do, sir. I am, sir. I'm sorry.
There he is.
I did not realize.
Sorry, there you are. Sorry, I haven't been
reference.
listening. I apologize. I was in another courtroom.
It's all right.
All right, and you were the pilot?
I was, sir.
All right. Well.
And this is Jordan Valdivia, is that correct?
Jordan Valdivia.
All right, 21 TR 210. All right, Mr. Thompson, how do you want to proceed?
We're here to beg for a withhold. I know it's a high speed. The record might be a little rough.
And I'm sorry, what was your request, Mr. Thompson?
For a withhold. We're throwing ourselves in the mercy of the court.
Sergeant Rodriguez or Sergeant Cruz, do you have any objection to a withhold of adjudication?
No, Your Honor.
I would ask the court to take into consideration that he was argumentative regarding whether or not it was his vehicle that was traveling at that speed. He also had a 19-month-old baby in the back seat and was clearly showing no regard for that child's safety.
All right. Mr. Thompson, I can't do a withhold on this one.
Even with school?
No. Do you want to proceed with the hearing or do you want to go forward with your plea?
Well, do they have documentation as to the stopwatch that was used, the Robic? Yes, we do, Your Honor. Well, if he's got to take points, would you consider sentencing him at 29 over?
Any objection?
Fortunately, I won't be able to testify to that, Your Honor. I apologize.
That sounds like an objection.
Is that an objection or it's Yes, Your Honor. I like to keep the integrity of the aircraft operations, and that's how I operate. Oh. And I apologize. No, that's fine. Can you? I mean, you can leave the speed the way it is, but can you pay a fine that's in line with 29 over? That would be up to the judge at that point.
Yeah, I can't do that because that would be a violation of the statute.
Right. I'm doing everything I can here. I'm pulling out all the stops, Judge.
All right. If you want to enter the plea, I'd do an adjudication of guilt, the minimum fine of $250 plus court costs, and require a 4-hour driver improvement school.
You guys do the school as well?
Just the 4 hours.
Okay. Well, my first guilty in a very long time.
I give them 90 days to pay.
Thank you.
All right, you want to accept that?
Well, I don't, but I don't have a choice.
All right. Adjudication of guilt, $250 fine, court costs, plus court costs, 90 days to pay, 4-hour driver improvement school.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you, Your Honor.
he's all, oh gosh, even worse. He's a Class A CDL holder. Any possibility of an amendment to 316-215? No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, so he's gonna lose his job too. All right.
Yeah, we take safety, as you already know, very seriously, and this is one of the areas that it's very difficult for us.
No, I see it's on YouTube. Hopefully nobody watches this. I tried. Thank you, Judge.
I think it's on the defendant, Mr. Thompson. All right. Anything else then?
That's all. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Sergeant.
Thompson.
Both
Thank you,
Sergeant.
Sergeant Rodriguez. Thank you, Sergeant Cruz.
Thank you, Your Honor. Might be excused.
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
An aircraft case with Sergeant Benoit Amador, David Amador. That should be his only one, I believe.
All right. Let's see. I think do I have an attorney for that case? Do I have attorney Alpazar present? Or someone covering for him?
I don't have any objection to
Well,
continuing.
hang on. Madam Clerk, we look at the court file on this one. It's 20 TR 22556. It looks like a judgment and sentence was already entered in this case.
I see that as well. Well, actually, it still says pending.
I see a line that says vacate plea and sentence, but I don't see a written order to that effect.
Give me 1 second, Judge.
Okay. I think to vacate the plea and sentence, you'd have to have a written order.
Yeah, I see that it was vacated. I don't see an order, and then I see another notice to appear, and then it got continued once again after that.
I don't see a motion to vacate the plea or the sentence either.
I don't either.
All right, well, I'm going to order that the disposition entered on November 13th, 2020 stands.
Okay.
I'll do a written order to that effect.
Sounds good.
All right.
That means that it's been handled, Your Honor?
That means it's been handled, correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You may. Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Thank
Sergeant
you.
Cruz.
Your Honor, may we call Daniel Shirazi?
Yes,
Gee, the case number, Your Honor.
if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, Your Honor. Case number is 20 TR 20 TR, Your Honor, 028455.
All right, thank you. And who do I have?
Your Honor, Attorney Nicholas Recchia, Your Honor. This is, Your Honor, I'm stepping up as a friend of the court. I don't know if Your Honor recalls last time we were here. I'm an attorney here in Chicago, and my client, we were either going to proceed pro hoc vice, or my client was going to obtain counsel there in Florida, and he's elected to find counsel there in Collier County. So he just needs one more date to do so.
All right,
And he's present on Zoom.
All right, I do see Mr. Shirazi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so you're going to seek counsel here locally?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I'll go ahead and continue the case. How much time do you need?
30 days.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we have a hearing date about 30 days out.
We have May 19th.
All right, Mr. Shirazi, you think you can get an attorney hired and ready by May 19th?
Sounds great, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we'll continue it to May 19th at 1:30. All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, have a good day.
You as well.
All right, thank you. All right.
Honor, I have one. Just one case.
All right, go ahead, Corporal Combs. Which case do you have?
I have Daniel Bilzor.
All right, case number 20 TR 29959. Do I have Daniel Bilzor present? All right, Corporal, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can proceed with your testimony.
Your Honor, it was on Sunday, December 6th, 2020, at approximately 8:34 a.m. in the morning. I was driving south on Goodlet Frank Road, heading south towards Vanderbilt Beach Road. As I was proceeding, there's a bridge. I was proceeding down the bridge, and as I had my radar for opposite traffic, monitoring vehicles going northbound. There was only one vehicle. I seen a vehicle. It was a white Tesla passenger car driving northbound at a high rate of speed. I estimated the speed at 80. I received a steady reading and tone of 80 miles an hour on my dual stalker radar. It is 45 miles per hour in that area. I was able to turn around and I pulled the vehicle over, and I made contact with the driver, who was identified by his Florida driver's license, Daniel Bilzar. I explained the reason for the stop. He did not have his license on him, and but I was able to bring up his license on my computer and identify that that was him. I asked him if he had any previous citations recently. He said he had just got one recently. I went back to my computer, ran his record through David, and did see that he had 2 previous citations within a year for speeding. And based on that, based on his speed, I wrote him a citation. And that concluded, it occurred in Collier County, Your Honor.
Thank you, Corporal Combs. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Last call for Daniel Bilzor. All right, having heard the testimony from Corporal, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $275 plus court costs, and require a 4-hour driver improvement school. I'll give him 90 days to pay, and I'll order a D6. All right, thank you, Corporal.
Thank you, Your Honor. Am I dismissed?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, did I have any other officers with one case?
Your Honor, I do.
All right, let's see, we've got, who do I have here? This
Melendez.
Let's see, I think I've got, sorry, your profile is 2865.
Corporal Batson.
Okay, thank you. Which case do you have?
I have 20 TR 23009. Defendant should be Cole Morant. Or Mordaunt.
Mordaunt, yep.
All right, give me 1 second here. Tell me how to spell your last name.
Mordaunt.
Okay, I've got it here. All right, Mr. Mordaunt, do you wish to proceed with the hearing?
Yes.
All right, if I could have you both raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, Corporal, you may proceed.
On the 30th day of September 2020, approximately 2150 hours, I was traveling northbound on Santa Barbara Boulevard, approaching Recreation Lane in Collier County, Florida. I observed a silver Lexus vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed in front of me. I visually estimated the vehicle to be traveling 58 miles per hour in the posted 45 mile an hour zone. I activated my Stalker DSR 2X front antenna in same direction mode and received a visual readout of 60 miles per hour. I heard a Doppler tone consistent with that speed. I caught up to the vehicle without ever losing sight and conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle at Golden Gate Parkway and Santa Barbara Boulevard. I identified the driver by his Florida DL as Cole Mordaunt. I conducted a check at David, which revealed Cole received a citation for unlawful speed in Collier County on 9/23/2020. Cole also had several warnings for various traffic violations in the past several months. Due to Cole's driving history, he was issued a citation for not obeying a traffic control device violation of the speed limit sign.
All right, anything else, Corporal?
No, sir.
Any questions for the Corporal, Mr. Mordaunt?
No, I just have my own statement.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Mordaunt.
So yeah, I was traveling behind him and on Golden Gate Parkway. We were going straight. I saw that the light was green for the left turn lane. I sped up to roughly 50, 52, 53 miles per hour. I'm on my issued ticket. I do not have a Doppler radar issued on here with my speed. So there was no speed limit taken from what I can see. And when I got into the left turn lane, as I turned left, he pulled me over. He said I was going 60. I made my claim that I was not going 60 miles per hour, which he had then said to me, even if you weren't, which kind of revolves back around to why was I pulled over in the first place if you never had my speed to begin with. And he said it's not an argument, yada, yada, yada. He kind of combated me, even though I don't believe I was ever going 60 miles per hour. I don't have a Doppler radar here either that says I was going 60. He just claimed that I was. And then proceeded, it didn't force me to. We both came to agreement. I signed away on not a speeding ticket. Yeah, for violation of a sign. I don't remember it being a speeding ticket though. I thought it was a violation of a traffic control.
That's what it is.
Yes, okay. But he was trying to claim to me that it wasn't he couldn't get me for speeding necessarily, more as violation of traffic control. I'm not very familiar with the terminology of that.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Mordaunt?
No, that is all.
Any rebuttal testimony, Corporal?
No, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Mordaunt, the charge is violation of a traffic control device, which in this case would be a speed limit sign.
Okay.
All right. So the testimony that the corporal provided was that he estimated your speed at 58 and then clocked you at 60. Now, had he given you a citation for a speed limit, for a unlawful speed, that minimum fine would have been $150. So it would have been $253 with court costs.
I see.
Okay. So he cut you a break, and maybe it was, I don't know why. Okay. So, so the minimum fine then on this ticket is $60. Okay. So based on the testimony of the officer, as well as your own testimony, as well as the citation in which you confirm that you thought you were going 53 miles per hour, which would still be in excess of the 45. I am going to find you guilty, but I'm going to withhold adjudication. That means you won't get any points on your license. I'm going to impose the minimum fine amount of $60 plus court costs. I'm going to give you 90 days to pay. I am going to require you to complete a 4-hour driver improvement school.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right. I believe I heard someone else say they had one officer had one case.
Corporal Melendez.
All right, Corporal Melendez. Which case do you have?
This is one that we had prior. His last name is Salter, and I believe he's still in custody.
Can you spell the last name for me?
It's Salter. First name's Christopher.
You think he's in custody?
I know he's in custody.
Oh, okay. All right. And it's a mandatory? Yes. Okay, well, let's go ahead and continue it. Madam Clerk, what's the furthest court date out you've got?
The furthest I have is September 29th.
Well, let's not go that far. How about something in June?
I have June 2nd.
All right. Let's continue it to June 2nd at 1:30.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Thank you, Corporal.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good day. All right. Did I have any other officers with just one case? All right. Let's see. Which case do you have?
Well, right now, I'm sorry, Your Honor. It's 2031506 PR.
And the last
for Austin Al-Haj, I believe you pronounce it. Austin Al-Haj.
All right. I think that's with Mr. Todd.
Yes, Your Honor, not guilty.
All right. Give me a moment to pull that up. All right. Officer, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. You can proceed with your testimony.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to dismiss. The citation is vague. As per Robinson v. State, the state is alleging careless driving, no traffic crash. There's no additional comments on the charging instrument, which would describe the driving patterns. To put my client on notice of the offense charged is impossible to prepare a defense. The instant matter is identical to Robinson v. State.
All right. Let me take a look at the citation. All right, I do not see any to wit clause for the careless driving. I'm going to grant the motion to dismiss and dismiss the citation in case number 20 TR 31506.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any questions,
Thank you.
officer? Okay, thank you. All right, have a good day. All right. Any other officers with one case? All right, let me go to James Vilcius.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me pull up your case. Give me 1 second. Is that the name that the case is under?
It's under, I think it's under McKenla Vilcius. MAKENLA.
Do you see that case?
Do you want the case number?
Yes.
Oh, the case number.
Oh, wait. I've got it. Sorry. Okay. All right. It's case number 20 TR 29776. I believe it's with Trooper Taruz.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right, Mr. Is it Vilcili? Tell me how to pronounce your last name.
It's Vilcius.
Vilcius, thank you. Okay. Do you want to try to resolve your case or do you want to have a hearing? Well, first off, how old are you?
I'm 17.
Do you have a parent or guardian with you?
No, sir. It's just me.
Nobody else is home or wherever you're at?
No, sir. It's only me.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's a problem? Because
Yeah.
I've done a court meeting by myself before.
Well, since you're under 18, I've got to have a parent or guardian.
I can call my brother.
How old is he?
He's over 18.
Is he there?
Just give me a second. Can I see?
Okay. All right. I'm going to recall your case, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right. All right. Let me go to Arthur Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
This is case number 20 TR 30533, also with Trooper Taruse. All right. Mr. Rodriguez, let me pull up your case. All right. Trooper Taruse, are you ready to proceed with your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Could I have you both raise your right hands to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Trooper.
Okay, Your Honor. On December 10th, 2020, at approximately 1:45 p.m., I was on duty and on patrol in Collier County, Florida. I was eastbound on I-75 approaching the 95-mile marker on Alligator Alley. It was a sunny afternoon. I was observing westbound traffic coming into Naples. I was in the inside lane. My patrol speed was approximately 77 miles an hour on cruise control. I observed a Mercedes GLE 43 utility, gray in color, traveling at a high rate of speed in the inside lane. It was the only vehicle present at the time. The vehicle was rapidly approaching towards my moving vehicle. I estimated the speed of that vehicle to be approximately 110 miles an hour on a 70-mile-an-hour zone. I activated my agency-issued dual stalker radar front antenna in opposite moving radar mode and received a high auto Doppler tone consistent with the speed and a digital display of 111 miles an hour. I made a U-turn in the grassy median, and without losing sight of the vehicle, I conducted a traffic stop. I approached the passenger side to speak with the driver, who was identified by his Florida driver's license as Arthur Victor Rodriguez. The driver was apologetic and stated that he was running late to court in Charlotte County. The driver was cited for unlawful speed and his demeanor was good during the traffic stop. All of the above events occurred in Collier County, Florida.
All right, thank you, Trooper. Mr. Rodriguez, do you have any questions for the Trooper?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any testimony that you'd like to provide?
No, what the Trooper states is what I recall.
Okay. All right. Having heard the testimony here today, I find the defendant guilty. Any comments as to sentencing from either party? I'll start with the Trooper.
No, Your Honor. Like I said, he had good demeanor on the traffic stop. To be fair, I believe that day what happened was, I think on mile marker 70 or 60, I would have to see in the notes, but I think there was a crash there and it held up the entire traffic. And then they were starting to let go of traffic like very slowly, meaning that when I clocked Mr. Rodriguez, he was literally the only vehicle. So if that makes it, better for decision purposes, it wasn't really, he wasn't overtaking traffic or driving recklessly or anything like that. And like I said, he had good demeanor. So I have no issues with whatever you impose.
Okay. Anything from you, Mr. Rodriguez?
No, Your Honor. I just wanted to make sure that I did send in a conditional plea of no contest. I'm not sure if the court ever received it.
The court back in January denied that conditional plea.
Okay, I wasn't aware. I did see a failure to appear, but they told me I wasn't supposed to appear if I submitted that. So I wanted to make sure that the court knew I didn't miss the court date on purpose.
Sure. All right. All right, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to impose a fine of $250 plus court costs. I am going to require a 4-hour driver improvement school, and I'm going to give you 90 days to pay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Slow down, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Trooper.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge?
Yes, Mr. Vilsis.
Yeah, I just got my brother. He's right here. If it's okay, we can go now, if it's okay with you.
All right. Your brother's there?
Yeah, he's right here.
All right. Hello, can you tell me your name?
Hello, my name is Jason.
All right, and how old are you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 29.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let me pull your case back up. All right. All right, Mr. Vilsius, do you want to have a hearing or do you want to try to resolve it without a hearing?
We can have a hearing.
Okay. Will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Trooper Therese, I'll let you go first.
Your Honor, so on December 2nd, 2020, at approximately 7:30 p.m., I was stationary on I-75 at the 101 mile marker just above Collier Boulevard. My vehicle was facing southbound and I was observing northbound traffic. It was a clear night and I observed a Chevrolet Camaro, white in color, traveling at a high rate of speed in the outside lane as it came over the overpass. It was the only vehicle present coming through that overpass. It rapidly came towards my stationary vehicle and I estimated the vehicle speed to be approximately 100 miles an hour on a 70 mile an hour zone. I activated my agency issued dual stalker radar front antenna and received a high auto Doppler tone consistent with that speed and a digital display of 103 miles an hour. I made a U-turn in the median. Without losing sight of the vehicle, I conducted a traffic stop on it. I approached the passenger side to speak with the driver, who was identified by his Florida driver's license as McKenla James Vilsius. Driver stated that he was heading back home to Naples and stated to me at the time that he was going only 78 to 80 miles an hour. Driver was cited for unlawful speed and his demeanor was good during the traffic stop. Driver also had one passenger in the vehicle. All of the above events occurred in Collier County, Florida.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Vilsius, do you have any questions for the trooper?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, do you have any testimony that you would like to provide?
No, other than that, when he had pulled me over, I told him what I thought I was going because he had told me he has the same type of car, and there's moments where you like put your foot on the pedal and it can rise really fast and you won't know it. So he had given me a suggestion, like little tips that just put on like cruise control. So I said okay, but at the moment I didn't know what cruise control was because I had just got the car, and he told me I have the same car, it can rise really fast, so just put on cruise control. I told him thank you and everything, but yeah, it was my fault for going that fast, and I'm here just to take the full responsibility for it.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Vilsius. All right, having heard the testimony, I find the defendant guilty. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to withhold adjudication. That means you won't get any points, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to impose the minimum fine. That's $250 plus court costs. I'm going to give you 90 days to pay. If you need more time than that, you'll have to work out a payment arrangement with the clerk, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you still on Cortez Circle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You'll get a copy of that in the mail, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vilcius.
Your Honor,
Yes, Trooper?
I have actually 2 cases with you, but one of them is going to be a dismissal. So if
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vilcius.
All right. Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Slow down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which case do you have, Trooper?
I'll give you the dismissal first, Your Honor. It's going to be 2020 TR 30827. That's for Keith Green, and I believe that's with Counselor Todd.
Yes, that's what I'm showing.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We don't object to that motion.
All right. Motion to dismiss is granted. Citation in case number 20 TR 30827 is dismissed.
Thank you, Trooper.
Thank you, Counselor. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
And your last one that I have is going to be 20 TR 30339, Yvette Sequina.
Okay, I've got it.
Hello.
Hello, do I have Ms. Sakina present?
Yes, you do, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, can you turn your video on? All right, thank you. All right, let me pull up your case here. All right, Ms. Sakina, will you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, Trooper Taruz, I'll let you start.
Yes, Your Honor. On December 4th, 2020, at approximately 12:50 a.m., I was on duty on patrol in Collier County. I was stationed on I-75 at the 108 mile marker. My vehicle was facing southbound, and I was observing northbound traffic. It was a cloudy night when I observed a Kia Optima sedan, white in color, traveling at a high rate of speed in the center lane. I estimated the speed of the vehicle to be 110 miles an hour in a 70 mile an hour zone because of its headlights rapidly approaching my stationary vehicle. I activated my agency issued dual stalker radar front antenna and received a high auto Doppler tone consistent with that speed and a digital display showing 111 miles an hour. I made a U-turn in the median, and without losing sight of the vehicle, I conducted a traffic stop on it. I approached the passenger side to speak with the driver, who was later identified by her New York driver's license as Yvette Sequina. The driver was apologetic about her speed and stated that she was driving a rental vehicle. Driver had 2 female passengers inside. Upon running her driver's license on FCIC NCIC, it showed her driver's license was suspended since October 6, 2020 for failure to answer to a traffic summons in New York. The driver stated that she did not know of the suspension. I requested the driver's license of one of the passengers present in the vehicle, and she presented me with a valid Florida driver's license and was able to continue driving off with the vehicle. Ms. Sequina was subsequently cited for unlawful speed and driving with a suspended license without knowledge. Her demeanor was good during the traffic stop, and all of the above events occurred in Collier County.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Sequina, any testimony from you?
I didn't know my license was suspended. That's correct. And I didn't know I was going at that speed, and I apologize.
All right. All right. Thank you for that, ma'am. All right. Having heard the testimony from the parties, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to withhold adjudication, impose a fine of $300 plus all court costs, and I'm going to give you 90 days to pay.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Are you still
thank you.
on Broadway,
Yes,
apartment 12D?
yes.
Okay, you'll get a copy of that in the mail, and it'll tell you how you can pay that, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Slow down, okay?
Can I be dismissed?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Yes, I will, Your Honor.
Thank
Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor. That was my last case. May I be dismissed?
You may. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
You too. All right, let me go to Savannah Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. All right, this is case number 20 TR 26461.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this Trooper Garcia?
It looks like you.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay. All right, Trooper, are you ready to proceed?
This is going to be a dismissal, sir. This is a single vehicle crash, no witnesses.
Okay. And Ms. Kelly, I'm assuming you have no objection?
No objection.
All right, I'll dismiss the citation in case number 20 TR 26461.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Trooper.
Thank you.
All right. Let me go to Mr. Salent.
Your Honor, I should probably go last because I actually want to inquire what happened to a case that at 1:30 that we failed to show up for, so I can wait.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, let me go to John Fasano.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
All right, you're not driving, are you?
I'm pulling over right now. I just been waiting 2 hours, sir. I'm sorry. Pulling over. You got my full attention, sir.
All right. This is case number 21 TR 313, and I believe it's with Trooper Benoit. Do I have Trooper Benoit here? I think so.
I think I saw him. He
Uh,
was present. He was present earlier.
I see you, but I don't hear you. Your microphone may not be connected. No, it's like really faint. I can't really hear it. Let me recall your case and see if maybe you can get that worked out. Okay, just hang on with us, Mr. Fasano.
Okay, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. All right, let me go to John McGinnis.
I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Oh, you're also with Trooper Benoit. Okay, let me recall your case, sorry.
No problem.
All right. Let me go ahead and go to Mr. Todd.
Sir.
All right. All right, go ahead, Mr. Todd.
Are we skipping Trooper Benoit for a moment?
Yeah, I think he might have left the room.
Okay, he'll be back. I have 3 cases left. 2 of them are mine, and 1 is a coverage for Attorney DePina. One of these cases, where there's 2 tickets with Trooper Waddell. I see he's present. It's Diana Cuello, Cuello. It's 20 TR 32072 and 20 TR 32041.
Okay, I've got both of them here.
Your Honor, I'm calling these together because they appear to stem from the same traffic stop.
Okay.
In these cases, Your Honor, we would enter a change of plea. On each case, the speed alleged is fast. It's 107 and a 70. I want to say that so the court knows that my client is not ignorant of that fact. The driving record is pretty good. We'd be requesting a withhold. These cases had been continued in part to try to obtain proof for the second case, which is fair to change address on driver's license. I filed an exhibit this morning, and I know that's kind of late, but I filed it this morning where my client had updated her driver's license subsequent to this stop.
Okay. I don't see the exhibit in that file yet. Amanda, do you see it in there yet?
Give me 1 second.
Actually, you know what? It just updated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do see it. Let me take a look at that one first.
Sir, and I apologize for the delay in that filing. That was an error on my part. The license issued to my client had been replaced March 9th, 2021. That's a couple months subsequent to the traffic stop. My client was in the process of multiple moves, from what I understand.
All right. Okay, as it relates to the citation in case number 20 TR 32041, I'm going to dismiss that for her compliance and issue a judicial warning. All right, let's talk about the speeding citation now.
Yes, Your Honor. The driving record of my client's been licensed since 2014. There's one prior violation, a crash incident in 2018. This is a first speeding infraction. It is fast. It's a mandatory appearance. We would be at the mercy of the court. I don't know if Trooper Waddell has any objection to a withhold, or maybe he can relay if my client was at least pleasant during the traffic stop.
Yes, Miss Quello, or Swello, how you pronounce it, was polite. I do have that written in my notes. Apologetic and polite. So I don't have a problem with withhold, if that's okay with the court, as long as the driving record is good for the most part.
Okay. All right, I did look at the driving record, and Mr. Todd's correct. The only thing I see was a traffic crash, I think a careless driving, no moving violations. All right, I'll accept the defendant's plea, order a withhold of adjudication, a $250 fine plus court costs, 90 days to pay, and a 4-hour driver improvement school.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Trooper. Stay safe.
Thank you, Trooper.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Your Honor, that was my only case. May be dismissed.
Yes, you may. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you as well.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Let me go to Trooper Benoit. Were you able to get your microphone working? So I don't know. I don't know if you're in a bad location. Your connection.
Can't hear him, sir.
Yeah, we're having a difficult time. And you and I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Your Honor, if it helps, for the case of Jude, I'm hearing an echo. Here.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, you're not watching it on YouTube, Mr. Benoit. Trooper Benoit, are you? Any objection?
Any objection?
Trooper Benoit.
Trooper Benoit.
Ironically.
Your Honor, if you can hear me, I'd like to call it in.
All right. Mr. Fasad, section
hearing.
Not at all, sir.
All right.
Mr.
All right. Benoit, if you want to number.
I wanted to call in on speakerphone clearly.
I don't know what.
I don't know what yet.
He said he wanted to call you on speakerphone so he could hear you clearly.
All right. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm gonna be right back. Amanda, do you have the number? Call?
I don't, unfortunately.
All right. Trooper Benoit, I don't have a number. Can you hear me? I think you're on mute.
Your Honor, if you can hear me,
Give me 1 second. Yeah. 1 second.
Wasted 2.5 hours. Crazy.
All right. Go to Mr.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear?
I hear you.
Okay. Give me a moment to pull your case. Mr. Fasano, do you want to proceed with, or do you want to try to resolve? The case?
Sir, I think last time. Hello? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, last time I was in front of you, after I kind of, spoke about my case, I think you said that a hearing was probably necessary because there was like a medical emergency involved there.
Okay.
So we needed testimony from the police officer.
All right. All right, if I could have Trooper Benoit and Resurrect must be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about the whole truth and nothing but the truth
Yes, sir.
All right. If you
Yes, Your Honor. I think we can expedite the case. Although there is a risk of death, there's a greater risk of death from one of the there was that required a diabetic pump. The subject was feeding on medical care references. The driver thought the diabetes level thought his blood sugar was up over 4. I called EMS and they responded him up and they said his blood was 30. And able to stable as ordered, and they were able to continue on our Cadillac Escalade. As far as the legal communication, after trying to arrival date, because that blood sugar was high, was when the event arrived. So I think a judicial warning. He actually asked 102 and a 70.
Okay. I do remember. Ano. So based on Trooper as well as my recollection of this case, I am going to dismiss number 21 TR 3 and issue a judicial warrant. Even though they 30 still too high for blood sugar level. So I understand that you're feeling necessity medical. Just slow down and you have the option your mouth.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you came in broken up every other word. I didn't hear the officer or you. So could you just repeat what went on? Because I didn't hear anything.
But yes, Trooper Benoit that your son or the other juvenile or was having a diabetic and he requested an issue a judicial warrant.
I thank you. I thank you for understanding. Thank you so much, Your Honor. I appreciate your time, and I apologize to you, to the county, and to the office of disrespect. I don't do that. I was on that highway, and the next exit was so far away. I thought it was safer play to get off. But thank you for understanding. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fasano.
Thank you. Be safe. Be safe, officer. Thank you.
All right. Let me go back.
I have other cases while I'm with you on speakerphone.
Sure, go ahead.
If you want, I can either handle those cases now on speakerphone, or I think I might be able to boost my connection by turning off the computer and turning it back on. It would take about 10 or 15 minutes.
Let me ask Mr. Todd, can you hear Trooper Benoit okay?
Everything the trooper just said, I heard clearly. It's a little quiet, but I heard him plain.
Okay. All right. Trooper Benoit, let's go ahead and handle your cases since I've got you on the speakerphone.
Yes, Your Honor.
You want me to call the two cases, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
Case assigned to me, Luis Martinez. That's 21 TR 314, Luis Martinez.
Okay.
Your Honor, in this case, I would enter a change of plea. I've examined the trooper's speed measuring records. They're in order, which is no surprise. My client was operating a vehicle very fast, 40 over on the interstate. Been licensed since 2008, and except for a major traffic offense in 15, has no prior speed violations.
All right. Trooper, any objection to a withhold in this case?
No, Your Honor. It's just I made a mistake and put the wrong statute on the ticket. I put it for speeding on a county road, and I would like to amend the statute to 316.1872A. That won't affect the penalties or fines. It'll just be appropriate for the road driven on. But no objection.
All right. Motion to amend the citation is granted. Amanda, did you get that statute number?
Could I have it again, please?
316.187, subsection 2A.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I'll accept the plea, order a withhold of adjudication, impose a fine of $250 plus court costs, and require a 4-hour driver improvement school.
Thank you.
90 days to pay.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, the last case I have, I'm covering for Attorney DePina, 20 TR 21901, Jose Rodriguez Quinones.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is a speeding infraction on the Interstate 93 and a posted 70. I have not seen the driving record in this case. I'd be requesting a withhold with a change of plea. I'm aware that the troopers' records for the speed measurement device are in order.
All right. I do have a copy of the driving record here. Had a speeding citation in June of 2020, 64 and a 55. And looks like that's it. No driver improvement school courses taken. Well, yeah, it looks like they probably did for the speeding citation in June of 2020. Trooper, any objection to a withhold in this case?
No, it's just the only circumstances you should be aware of is that there was 4 passengers in the vehicle, including a 3-year-old female child who didn't have a booster. The booster was in the car, it was in the trunk, and I asked why would the booster be in the trunk, and the driver indicated it was because it was a long trip. I guess it was for the child's comfort, superseding the safety, and that the roadways were wet. It was cloudy and there was a light sprinkle going on, but nothing aggressive in the driving nature.
Your Honor, can I comment?
You may.
That's of course new information to me. It's a significant consideration to be sure anytime there's a child not properly restrained, especially where speed is alleged. We would request a withhold maybe with an advanced driver improvement school. I can relay the trooper's comments to Attorney DePina. I mean, that's something that he's going to want to advise his client to kind of prevent any future occurrence of a similar type violation, especially where a child is involved.
Right. I do see the other citation for the child restraint requirement. And that case resolved back in December for that citation. I'll go ahead and do a withhold of adjudication. I'm going to impose a $200 fine plus court costs, give them 90 days to pay. I'm going to require a 12-hour driver improvement school in this case. And that'll be it for this case then.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Trooper.
Thanks. I have 2 more cases, Your Honor.
Okay. You have McGinnis?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And we've got Mr. McGinnis with us. This is case number 20TR26566. All right. There's Mr. McGinnis. All right. Let me pull that up. All right, Mr. McGinnis, you want to have a hearing or you want to try to resolve it?
Just resolve it.
Okay, looks like 80 and a 60. Trooper Benoit, this is on State Road 29.
Yes, Your Honor. This was northbound on 29, just north of I-75, just at the southern end of the Panther Zone. The 60-mile-per-hour zone daylight, and this occurred at sunset. There was no passengers. The driver was cooperative, had his documentation, but was verbally warned because the State Farm wasn't with him. And I just wrote him for 20 over. He indicated that the speed got away from him. He wasn't paying attention to that moment that I clocked him.
Okay.
No other traffic affected.
All right, and looks like Mr. McGinnis, you've been licensed in Florida since 2014. I don't see any citations on your driving record. I'll accept your plea and enter a withhold of adjudication, impose the minimum fine of $175 plus court costs, give you 90 days to pay. And are you still on declaration court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll mail you that and it'll tell you where to pay that at.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. McGinnis. All right, and Trooper Benoit, what's your last case?
It was Michael Anthony Smith, TR, or 2020 TR 025023.
All right, careless driving and a crash.
Yes, Your Honor. I've reached out to the victim driver and no response. So if you can sound the court for Russell Johnson Jr., if he's not present, I came to the crash after the fact. The victim did not sustain any injury. The driver was in a semi-truck and had minimal damage to the trailer area. If we can't get a hold of Russell, I can't prove the case.
And what was the name again?
The defendant was Russell Johnson Jr., or correction, the victim, driver 2, was Russell Johnson Jr. He's out of Hillsborough, Tampa Bay.
All right. Do I have a Russell Johnson Jr. present? I'm looking at, we don't have many left in the courtroom. I don't see anyone here with that profile name.
I can't go forward, Your Honor. I have to, the court dismiss the citation.
All right, I'll dismiss the citation in case number 20TR25023.
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize for the audio difficulties.
That's okay.
That's all I got. I have to be dismissed.
All right, thank you, Trooper. Have a good day. All right, let me go to Trooper Garcia.
Yes, sir.
All right, what other case do you have?
My remaining case is for Jorge Alonso Perez Sanchez.
All right, 20TR30093.
Yes, sir. It's a speeding case.
And you're already sworn in, correct?
No, sir. The last case was discussed.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
On December 6, 2020, I was stationed in the paved median of I-75 in Collier County, facing north, observing southbound traffic near mile marker 101. At approximately 1:40 p.m., I observed a blue four-door vehicle approaching my location and passing numerous vehicles in the inside lane at a high rate of speed. I estimated that the vehicle was traveling at 105 miles per hour. I activated my stalker dual and received a loud Doppler tone with a reading of 107 miles per hour. I conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle just past or just south of the Collier Boulevard overpass. The driver stated that he was in a hurry to get back to Miami. He was visiting from Colombia. Our entire interaction was in Spanish, by the way. He presented me, I asked for a driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. The driver presented me with a Colombian driver's license, as well as a passport and travel document. He was then issued a citation for unlawful speed of 107 miles per hour in a posted 70 mile per hour zone. All events did occur in Collier County.
All right, thank you. Last call for Jorge Alonso Perez Sanchez. All right, having heard the testimony from the trooper, I find the defendant guilty. I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $300 plus court costs, give him 90 days to pay.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you. Did you have any other cases?
No, that's all. He is out of Colombia. His license and address is out of Colombia. I'm assuming he's not going to get any of the information.
I'm
all right.
Also.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Trooper. All right, and I think I still have Trooper Ellisaint present.
I am, Your Honor. I do have 2 more cases left.
Okay, go ahead.
I have Jack Stanley and Anna Zayas.
What was the first one you said? Stanley?
Stanley, that is 20 TR 029892.
Okay, we have it under last name Jacques, I guess, Jacques. All right, and did I previously swear you in?
I have been, yes.
Okay. All right, I'll let you proceed on Stanley Jacques or Jacques.
Yes, this occurred on December 3rd, 2020 at approximately 3:52 p.m. I was stationary on a median. I was near mile marker 91, and I was facing westbound traffic. I was also running stationary radar on the traffic moving west towards Naples. I observed the vehicle that I was traveling west at a high rate of speed. It was on the inside lane. It was passing another vehicle. I visually estimated that vehicle to be traveling at 115 miles per hour. I then activated my radar speed measuring device, and I received a reading of 110 miles per hour by display in a clear, steady audio Doppler tone that was consistent with the vehicle's speed. The speed limit on this road is 70 miles per hour. I initiated lawful traffic stop. I made a passenger side approach. I introduced myself and I stated the reason for the stop. I asked if there was a legal reason for his action. He said, I'm going to Naples and that her mother was sick. We were going to visit her. I then requested a driver's license, registration, and insurance. I asked if the address on his license was correct. He said yes. I identified him by the picture on his photo driver's license and NCIC, FCIC. He had 1 passenger in the vehicle. The driver was then cited for speed, and the traffic stop was concluded. This all occurred in Collier County.
All right, last call for Stanley Jacques. All right, I've heard the testimony from the trooper. I find the defendant guilty. I'll adjudicate him guilty, impose a fine of $300 plus court costs, require a 4-hour driver improvement school, 90 days to pay, and D6. All right, and then you said Zayas?
Zayas Anna.
All right, 20 TR 29881. Let me pull that one up. All right, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, this occurred on the exact same date. It was December 3rd, 2020 at approximately 12:58 p.m. I was traveling east on I-75, State Road 93, and I was approaching mile marker 94, and I was running opposite moving radar. So when I observed the vehicle that I was traveling west at a high rate of speed, it was on the inside lane with no other vehicles present at the time. I visually estimated that vehicle to be traveling at 105 miles per hour. I activated my radar speed measuring device. I received a reading of 108 miles per hour and a clear, steady auto double tone that was consistent with the vehicle speed. The speed limit on this road is 70 miles per hour. I initiated a lawful traffic stop. I did a passenger side approach. I introduced myself and stated why I stopped them. I asked if there was a legal reason for her action. She stated that that's impossible. I was going 80 miles per hour. I requested the driver's license, registration, and insurance. I asked if the address on her license was correct. She said yes. I then issued the driver a citation for speed, and the traffic stop was then concluded, and this all occurred in Collier County.
All right, last call for Anna Zayas. All right, having heard the testimony from the officer, I find the defendant guilty. I'll adjudicate her guilty, impose a fine of $300 plus court costs, give her 90 days to pay, require a 4-hour driver improvement school, and D6.
That should be it for me, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trooper. Have a good day.
As well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me go to, hang on one second before I call on Mr. Slint. Amanda, did we cover Arlene and I don't know, ANTOINE?
We did not.
All right, 20 TR 28516. Let me look at that. Hang on, I did get a couple emails from court liaison. Let me see what it said.
Okay.
All right, I'll go ahead and dismiss the citation in case number 20 TR 28516 for lack of prosecution.
Okay.
All right, did we cover Cedric Eugene?
No, we did not.
20 TR 30233. All right, let's see. I see that Deputy McCoy was served. I'll go ahead and dismiss the citation in case number 20 TR 30233.
Okay.
Lack of prosecution. All right, was that it?
Yes, that was.
Okay, now let me go to Mr. Slint.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to go back to 130, and the case was ACDJZQE Amador David. And Your Honor, it really got away from us. I just wanted to know what was the outcome of the case, and I apologize that we were not present.
Amanda, what do we do in that case?
That was the one that had the judgment in there already from November that was vacated, but there was no motion or order.
Okay, right. Okay, so Mr. Slint, I see that a judgment and sentence was entered on November 13th, 2020. Then there's a line in the court file that says vacate plea and sentence on the same date. However, I don't see a motion and I don't see a written order. You have any idea what happened on November 13th?
Must have been a mistake somewhere, Your Honor. I believe we did have a hearing at the time. This was an airplane citation, and one of the two officers had not shown up. And I do not recall what the court did at the time. I think I think there might have been a continuance or something. I don't know why there would have been a judgment vacated. So my guess is somewhere down the line something must have gotten messed up.
Yeah, I see that Judge, looks like that was in front of Judge Crown. Looks like he entered a withhold of adjudication, a $250 fine plus court costs, and a 4-hour driver improvement school on that date. And then there's a note that says vacate plea and sentence.
This is the first I hear of it, Your Honor.
All right. So you're saying that that the vacate plea and sentence is correct?
Well, as far as we know, there was no judgment entered in the case. So this is the first we find out that there was a judgment entered in the case. So, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin in regards to that. Let me just see if I can open the docket here.
All right. So why don't we do this? Why don't you file a written motion to vacate the judgment and sentence and requesting a new hearing date? Can you get that filed tomorrow morning?
Yes, Your Honor. And the judgment was entered on, what was the date again?
November 13th.
November 13. Okay.
All right, and I'll do a written order granting that and setting it or directing the clerk to set it for a hearing.
Do we need to, when I file it through the online, do I need to email it somewhere? Do I need to upload it? Because I'm in Miami. I don't know your county's procedures. If you have a particular system where we have court map down here, you know, where you upload like proposed orders and things like that. Do you guys have anything like that over there?
Don't worry about sending me a proposed order. Just file the motion and it'll come to me since I'm the traffic judge this week.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I'll file it tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Amanda, do we need to go ahead and set it somewhere?
Yes, we do.
All right. What date do you have? We're setting it for a hearing, for a 1:30 hearing.
We can do May 19th. I have May 26th.
Either one of those dates preferable?
We could do May 19th, Your Honor.
Is it May 19th?
Correct.
May 19th at 1:30?
Yes, Your Honor. And it will also be Zoom, correct?
It'll be Zoom. It'll be the same codes. All right. And so then I'll go ahead and put that date and time in the order that I do tomorrow after I get the motion. Mr. Slint, if you want to send over a filed copy of the motion to my judicial assistant via email, that way I know it's been filed and I can go ahead and do the order then.
Yes, Your Honor. Could I have an email?
Yeah, it's J R O M A N as in Nancy E L L I at CA dot CJIS 20.org.
Okay, so that's JROMAN as in Nancy, ELLI at CA.CJIS20.org.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I will do that.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for your patience.
No problem, Your Honor. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, let me write down that. I don't think I wrote down that case number. Okay.